In the late 19th century, America was a nation suffering from a profound identity crisis. The Civil War was a fading but painful memory. The frontier was officially declared closed, and the country was struggling to prove to the aristocratic powers of Europe that it was more than just a land of soot, steel, and uncultured ruffians. What followed was a story of two men, two visions, and two buildings that would define the American psyche for a century: the White City and the Murder Castle. The audacious bet. In 1890, the United States Congress decided to hold a World's Fair to celebrate the 400th anniversary of Christopher Columbus's arrival in the Americas. The competition to host the event was fierce. New York City, the cultural capital, assumed it was a given, but Chicago, a city that had literally burned to the ground only 20 years prior in the Great Fire, wanted it more. Chicago was seen by the East Coast elite as a cattle town, a place of slaughterhouses and mud. Yet, through sheer political maneuvering and a staggering $10 million raised by its citizens, Chicago won the bid. The task of building this dream city fell to Daniel Burnham, a brilliant but pressured architect. He had only 2 years to transform a swampy, desolate wasteland on the shores of Lake Michigan into a paradise. Building the White City. Burnham assembled a dream team of architects, including Frederick Law Olmsted, the man who designed Central Park. Together, they created something the world had never seen: the White City. The neoclassical dream. Every building was designed in the grand Beaux Arts style, painted a brilliant, uniform white. The birth of nightlife. This was the first time a city was fully illuminated by electricity. At a time when most Americans still used candles and kerosene, the sight of 100,000 incandescent bulbs reflecting off the lagoons was considered heavenly. The War of Currents. The fair became the final battleground between Thomas Edison, DC current, and Nikola Tesla and George Westinghouse, AC current. Tesla won the contract, and his success at the fair is the reason your home is powered by AC today. The inventions that changed your life. The 1893 fair was the Silicon Valley of its time. If you walked through the Midway Placenza, you would have encountered products that are now staples of American life. The Ferris wheel, invented by George Washington Gale Ferris, Jr. as a response to the Eiffel Tower. It carried 2,000 people at a time in cars the size of buses. Consumer icons. This was the debut of Pabst Blue Ribbon, which won the Blue Ribbon at this fair. Juicy fruit gum, Aunt Jemima pancake mix, Cracker Jacks, and even the zipper. The Pledge of Allegiance. It was written specifically for the fair's opening ceremonies for school children to recite. The Shadow in Englewood, Harry H. Holmes. While Daniel Burnham was building a city of light, just miles away, a charming, handsome man named Dr. H. H. Holmes was building a nightmare. Holmes is often cited as America's first documented serial killer. Taking advantage of the thousands of young women traveling alone to Chicago for the fair, he built a 3-story hotel that locals called the Castle. The horror of the Murder Castle. The architecture of death. The building was a labyrinth. It contained stairs that led to nowhere, doors that opened into brick walls, and soundproofed rooms. The gas chambers. Some rooms were fitted with gas lines controlled from Holmes' bedroom, allowing him to asphyxiate his guests at will. The basement. He installed a custom-built crematorium and vats of acid to dispose of bodies. He would often bleach the skeletons and sell them to medical schools for a profit. While the fair celebrated human progress, Holmes represented the new, terrifying anonymity of the modern American city, a place where you could live next to a monster and never know his name. The tragic finale. The fair ended not with celebration, but with blood and fire. The assassination. 2 days before the fair's grand closing ceremony, the popular mayor of Chicago, Carter Harrison Sr., was assassinated in his home by a disgruntled job seeker.
The gala was canceled, replaced by a massive funeral. The Inferno. Shortly after the fair closed, a series of fires broke out. The White City, built of wood and staff, a mixture of plaster and hemp, went up in flames. The Dream City burned to the ground, leaving behind only the cold, gray Chicago winter. The informative legacy. The 1893 World's Fair changed America in ways we still feel today. Urban planning, it sparked the City Beautiful movement, leading to the creation of monumental parks and civic centers in D.C., San Francisco, and Cleveland. Cultural identity, it proved America could compete with Europe culturally and technologically. The dark side of the city. The H.H. Holmes case led to the first modern forensic investigations and a permanent change in how American police handled missing persons.